And one of the ones I actually often ask my clients as well is, I was like, if you don't have time, why don't you show me your screen time?
I like that idea. Because I'm always pulling out steps counts in consultations, right? I'm always like, they're like, I get enough steps. I was like, pull it up right now. Apple Health right now. Let's look at 1 month, 6 months. Same. I love that. Pull up your screen time.
My husband always said, but I was working.
Oh, and you'll get that from clients too, I think.
Hey, and welcome to the Forties Formula, your go-to place for insightful discussions on navigating the 40s and thriving in this transformative decade.
We're your hosts, Jasmin and Amanda, two women that are passionate about exploring the challenges and adventures that come with turning 40 and what lies ahead. So we have had all sorts of guests here on the Forties Formula talking about all aspects of health and fitness and every angle. But what we have been hearing from our listeners loud and clear is that they want to know more about two specific aspects: weight loss and managing weight loss around menopause and perimenopause. So enter Charlie Thakrar, the expert on both of these things. Welcome so much, Charlie. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love your tagline from your Instagram, right? Real results delivered by real women. You and your partner, Sarah, work super hard to transform women's bodies every day, but do you help them work on their mindset, since that's what's really what keep them in the game long term?
Yeah, look, mindset is a big thing because changing, body, exercising, these things, there's a goal, it's temporary. When we're working with clients, one of the biggest things that during that consultation program for me is I really want to know their why. Right? What is your why? Because it's more intrinsic. Motivation and things like that it's not going to last. It's there for a few weeks. We're very eager to make all of that start. But then what happens when the motivation stops, or when you've reached that first small goal? Then what happens? So we always want to tap into each of our clients and say, look, what fires your belly? What is your long-term goal? It's about what really internally motivates you. So, for example, for me, somebody might say, why do I train, or why do I eat the way it is? Aesthetics is so superficial. That's one thing. But I'm training for my old woman body, right? And I'm thinking, what is my why? My why is I can visualize in 10, 20 years. I'm going to be a grandmother. It's going to happen. And I want to be really strong, and I want to be able to be with my grandkids, or, go for long hikes with my husband when we're both retired. This is my why. My why is not so much, just about looking a certain way. I want to prevent, heart disease or diabetes. This is my why. So when it comes to certain, our clients, we want to really find out what is your intrinsic factors.
Yeah, because everyone said, of course, the vanity, the aesthetics, that's what drives us all in the first place. Let's be honest, right? Yeah. I don't think there's a woman out there that would say exercise is started as completely independent of aesthetic goals, right? I think at the beginning that is very common. And again, that's just being a young woman, right? The focus from society is on how you look, so you internalize that. But until you find that why, like what you said in your initial consultation with clients, I think it will never stick.
Absolutely.
It's the long-term game doesn't stick.
Yeah. Same happened with me. So for years I was on this yo-yo dieting, losing a bit of weight, gaining weight, losing a bit of weight, gaining weight. It was just constant, and it was always like, I just want to lose, 5 kilos, whatever it was. But it was when I started going through perimenopause really early. I was told I had a premature ovarian failure. So at 36, I started experiencing perimenopausal symptoms. And then I had a dream that night when I actually found out. And it was that I'd basically fast forwarded my life by 10 years. And I just thought, shit, things have got to change now. And it was when I stopped dieting to lose weight and I started eating right, exercising, because I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be there for my boys. Did things start changing? And I think that was my why, my deeper meaning for doing what I do.
Yeah, because then it's sustainable. Yeah. It becomes a part of your lifestyle, and then it's a habit.
Yes.
Right? So we got to keep stacking on those habits every time.
Well, it's something you just mentioned is something that I wanted to ask Charlie about, which was this idea of nourishment, right? Rather than dieting.
Yeah.
So the idea that food isn't just about controlling your waistline and being smaller and losing weight. It's actually to increase, this is your words, increase your capacity to flourish.
Absolutely.
Which I could not love that phrasing more. How do you help women find ways to transition from that weight loss, be smaller, be prettier, whatever aesthetic, into something that nourishes and flourishes for them?
Yeah. And again, this all comes down to educating. So a big part of our programs is educating the clients, because I don't want my clients to rely on me forever, first of all, and I don't want them to train with me or, you know, take a specific nutrition plan with me for a specific goal. I want to teach them how to eat for longevity and a lifetime, and to train for longevity as well. We've got clients that are vegetarian or Indian or Mediterranean, Mexican, it doesn't matter. When I look at food and you know, when I trained in the culinary nutrition world as well, food is information, right? It's not just about macronutrients and proteins, carbs and fats. That's great. That might help you achieve the body on the basic level. But it's those micronutrients that we're looking at. It's the phytonutrients. It's everything. What is that plate made up of?
I don't know about you, Jasmin, but one of the main questions I get from nutrition clients is where to grab a healthy meal when they're out and about.
Oh, all the time. And they're often happy to hear me recommend Guzmini Gomez, where clean is the new healthy.
GYG serves up honest, clean eats. No preservatives, no artificial flavors, no added colors, and no unacceptable additives. Basically, no nasties.
And that's part of the reason why I feel good bringing my family to GYG for a quick meal too. My boys love it. Plus, I know they're getting fresh, 100% clean food.
And it's seriously good stuff. The salsas and marinades are actually sourced from Mexico, so every bite has authentic Mexican flavors. And as a native Californian, I can verify that is legit.
Oh, you've got me hungry for my fave protein-packed burrito bowl. I love that I can double up on the protein to make it even more nutritious.
I'm a burrito bowl gal too. Extra spicy with double barramundi for me. And super easy to get since there are 18 locations all over the island with online and social media delivery options too.
We know where we're headed after the podcast. Now back to the chat.
So what does protein, fats and carbs really mean? It means getting the absolute best sources of each of those macronutrients within. The other thing I have to think about, and it's really important to me, is there's nourishment, but it's cultural, and there is more to eating. You know, we eat for pleasure. Connection is involved with eating. So I don't like to simply play with things like macros. That's just one word. So I really got to find out with my clients is, you know, how do you guys spend time as a family? What type of foods you eat? What is your childhood memories of food? What did you grow up eating? Like, does your mum make a certain thing, and does that trigger, you know, this emotion within you? All of these things. And I never want to take something away from a client. No food is off limit. But in mind, you know, we always have in mind what that client's goal is. The majority of the time it is going to be body recomposition, fat loss or muscle gain. But how do we still encompass all of these other factors so that you can achieve that goal? It might take a little bit longer, but it's going to be, you know, you're going to be happy. It's going to be sustainable for you.
I think that's the key word, isn't it? Sustainability, whatever you can stick to, because something that I could do might not work for somebody else. And I think you've got to sort of tailor it for yourself.
Yeah. So Jasmin, I don't know about you, but lately I've been struggling to keep up with the grocery shopping. Between work and the kids and everything in between, it feels impossible to plan healthy meals without constantly running to the store.
Oh my God, I know exactly what you mean. I feel like I've got everything and then bam, something's missing. So that's why I've started using the Meat Club.
Okay, tell me more. This sounds like a total lifesaver.
They deliver high quality meats, fish and fresh fruit and veggies straight to your door. No more last minute grocery runs or stressing about what to cook. And everything is top notch to help you create a healthy and balanced diet for yourself and your family. They even have a flexible subscription service too.
Okay, I just had a look and that subscription service sounds amazing. You can get up to 15% off your basket, free mints for life on orders over $100. Plus, They offer over $160 worth of exclusive perks and give you the flexibility to edit your cart or change your delivery day anytime.
Just head over to the Meat Club and use our code TFF12 for 12% off your first order.
Just visit themeatclub.com.sg and give them a follow on Instagram at themeatclubsg for recipes, updates, and special offers.
Right, now let's get back to the chat. Now, how do you deal with women who come into the to your gym and say, I want to lose weight? Does that seem to be like the main thing that women tend to come to see you for, rather than I want to get fit or I want to gain muscle? Does it always seem to be like, I just want to lose weight?
Honestly, maybe up until about a year ago, that was what was happening. But I'm seeing a big shift at the moment.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
I just think there is so much more awareness out there, and there's it's catching now.
Yeah.
You know, women in their 40s are finally understanding what's going on here. I'm a nutritionist, and even for the past 12, 15 years, when clients would come to see me about something, they would not come to me and say, my cholesterol is off the charts, or my HbA1c is high, or this is going on. It would always be, I want to lose weight.
Yes.
But as our job, right, we're the investigators. And so we sit down and we say, okay, well, I know that that's your goal, but I just need to dig deep. And I'm thinking, well, my concern is how am I going to get these numbers down?
Yeah.
So that's where that nutrition in the background works. And we're working towards, for me, getting all of these markers down for you. But yeah, you'll still achieve your goal.
Yeah. Well, and I think you used a term that I would love for every single one of our listeners to truly understand. So if you wouldn't mind doing us the indulgence of explaining it. Body recomposition. So women say the words that Jasmin said that they're familiar with, lose weight. But what they really want to achieve truly is body recomposition. Can you tell us what that means?
So in the simplest way to explain that, body recomposition is losing body fat whilst either maintaining or gaining muscle mass. So your weight may stay the same, it may change, it's just one piece of data that we have, but you are really changing, that body composition of fat or muscle ratio.
Jasmin, there is so much information on gut health out there right now. And if we as nutritionists are tired of trying to wade through the oceans of probiotic strains and supplements to figure out what's best for our families, I imagine our listeners are too.
Oh, no doubt they are, which is why I love the simplicity and straightforward science of the berry, tropical, and ginger tonics from Akizi Wellness.
Akizi's prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic tonics combine all the good stuff. Active probiotic species, real fruit ingredients, and billions of good bacteria in a drink that you can actually feel confident is what your family needs for better health.
I actually love doing a quick shot of the ginger tonic to get my anti-inflammatory benefits after a big workout. Oh, and my kids will definitely love the sweeter tasting berry, which I love since they get all their polyphenol, brain, and digestive health benefits.
For me, it's all about that mango, passion fruit, pineapple, tropical tonic, packed with antioxidants and beta-carotene for my immune system. It's actually amazing mixed with some sparkling water as a healthy, tasty mocktail at the end of a long day of recording in studio.
Our Singapore listeners can get an exclusive 15% off and free shipping with all orders using the code Forties on akiziwellness.com.
That's Akizi Wellness, AKESI Wellness.com. And now, back to the show. Yeah. And then this is totally off script now, so get ready, girl. Here we go. With the rise of things like Ozempic, right, with weight loss drugs, they help you lose weight. But as we know, they're starting to destroy body composition. Have you seen the effect of Ozempic yet moving through your clientele?
So we've started. We've had 2 clients who have recently started Ozempic. So we don't have that kind of clinical information of what happens. But from what I understand, Ozempic is, if you're eating yourself to death, then there might be a place for Ozempic. Absolutely work with your healthcare practitioner. But the studies that I have looked at have shown that you're not just losing body fat, but you're actually losing muscle mass as well. And I think what, we need to understand is if it's going to save your life and you need to take Ozempic, but incorporate strength training as well so you're not losing muscle mass, because muscle really is the organ of longevity, right? That's what we need. And that's where I'm seeing a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Do you find that, when women are going through this recomp, they step onto the scale, they don't see any shift in their weight, or they might see a weight gain, do they just think, fuck, I'm going to throw in the towel, this isn't bloody working? Or, do you have to sort of coach them and be like, well, actually, look, I don't know whether you do like an in-body or something in your clinic, but is there a way that you can sort of help emphasize that there is a recomp happening and it's not just, like nothing's working?
Yeah, it's not related to the number on the scale necessarily.
Absolutely. So every single client, we do full, anthropometric testing. We've got the in-body scan. We're taking girth measurements. We're taking photos, front, back, side. So and then obviously there's the weight. So we've got so many points of data. And this is always happens that we can show a client to say, okay, maybe the scale has only gone down by 1, because I know the clients are always interested in the scale. It's gone down by 1 kilo. And I know over the years that the motivation is it's going to start to wane. But let's look at your photos, because we have apps that will do a before and after, and we do the girth measurements. But you can see centimetres have dropped. Right? We've got inches coming off of your body. You look very, very different, but only 1 kilo has dropped. So maybe, that's body fat. Hopefully that's pure body fat. Maybe you've gained some muscle mass as well.
Yeah. And, given the difficulty of women to kind of accept that journey, because it is, again, we are programmed to see a number on a scale and make a judgment based on that. What are 3 things that you would tell a woman starting a body recomposition journey?
First and foremost, number 1 priority, focus on your nutrition. All right. Out of that nutrition, if for body recomp purposes, focus and prioritize protein and fiber. Okay, those are those 2 things. Absolutely. I'm not talking about the phytos and your micronutrients, phytonutrients, antioxidants. That is really, really important, but just for body recomposition.
Correct.
Number 2, strength train. One of the things that I've started to say a lot to my clients lately is stop focusing on body fat or losing body fat. Start focusing on building muscle, because body fat will take care of itself once we start to build a certain amount of muscle for you, because your skeletal muscle is the largest site for glucose uptake, about 80%. So let's start building that, so you've got a place to utilize these calories as well. Body fat's going to take care of itself. It's a side effect.
Yeah. But I love that, because that speaks to something that I get always as a coach, and I know you must get this as well, which is like, I have to focus on losing body fat, because if I start strength training, I don't want to get too bulky. Oh my God, I can only lift these little weights because I don't want to get too bulky. I can only do so much strength training because I don't want to get too bulky. I have to do all this cardio because I don't want to get too bulky. How do you help change this mindset in your clients?
Oh, it's educational, and it's a question that I used to ask my coach 15 years ago. So I really understand, right? Just because I know now, I know that these clients who are new to this, or even have been doing this for a few years, still have that same concern. So we just tell them, like, listen, ladies, we do not have the hormones. We don't have that level of testosterone to be able to bulk. You would have to take some steroids, maybe some other medication to be able to get to that level. I wish I could put on muscle that fast. I wish.
Yeah.
So no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And for someone like me, like who CrossFit is my main sport, right? And I put so much effort into getting better at that sport, getting stronger in that sport. And I always think it's funny when my clients say, well, I don't want to look like a CrossFitter. And I was like, don't worry, you won't. Because unless you have the capacity to train like an elite athlete, and again, potentially do some other stuff on the side, and that's, a topic for another episode. It's like you won't wake up one day with traps connecting to your earlobes.
Absolutely.
I promise you that. Especially, like I said, if you're lifting less than half your body weight on a deadlift or something, it's like you're going to be okay, girl. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
But you just mentioned hormones. And I think something that's really unique about what you do, and again, if you don't mind me saying, the age group that you're in, is that you kind of have this experience with the hormonal changes of women, right? So whether it's training around their cycles, training around pregnancies, postpartum changes, and of course, the entry to menopause, perimenopause. What shifts and adjustments do you find useful when you're training women through some of these hormonally transitional periods?
Each of them are so different.
Yeah.
And
you can break it down into each.
Yeah. And, if we're talking about somebody training prenatally or postnatally, it doesn't have to be that complicated, but it's on it's on a client basis, right? So every client is still different. We don't know if that client has any prior experience to training, if they're new to it. Most importantly, during that period, prenatally, we're looking at your form. We're looking at your energy levels. What are you like? Because every day, your 3 trimesters are different. Yeah. So we have to... It's not very, you can't just sit there and say, I'm going to make a 12-week or a 6-week program. I think during these phases, we're looking at that client on a day-to-day basis. What are you feeling today? How did you sleep? Any tightness? Different things going on. There's an emotional connection as well to all of this. So you've got to work with that client on that day, rather than just think that that's what it is, because that's what the paper says. Honestly, when it comes to perimenopausal women, which is a bit more where my experience is, that one's been tricky. I'm myself I'm right in the midst of it right now, so I understand from a personal perspective as well. But it's not, we're having these hormonal changes, absolutely. But hormones sometimes seem to just be the scapegoat for everything, don't they?
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
But are we doing all the foundations? Are we putting those lifestyle medicine pillars, the 6, I think Dr. Fung was on here, so she grabbed it. Are we putting those 6, those pillars of lifestyle medicine in place? Are we looking at our sleep? Are we looking at our nutrition? Are we looking at our training, our stress management? Are we, harmful substances, things like that? We can blame hormones. It's just so easy to say, my hormones are out of whack, my metabolism is broken. There's no such thing as a broken metabolism, right? Let's stop focusing on blaming something when the foundations haven't been put in place.
That's right.
So absolutely, I do work with these ladies and I say, look, you've got to work in getting these things in place. Let's get this in place. Don't even talk to me about supplements. You're not ready for supplements until these 6 are absolutely sorted. But the other aspect that I find is when these women come to me, it's different than even in our 30s, because like myself, many women are going through changes in the family, like, we're going through empty nest syndrome. Somebody's left. So is it a perimenopause or a menopausal symptom that we're feeling today, brain fog or anxiety or depression, or are we having other areas of our life, these confounding factors that are coming in and playing today? Is it that, you're missing your children, or you've got this identity crisis at the moment? Because a lot of these, and expat women especially, well, we've dedicated our entire lives to raising our children, supporting our husbands. Suddenly we find ourselves, with nothing to do? And that's contributing to symptoms as well. So we need to figure out what's going on with each client.
Yeah, and that hits home, I think, because I think back to, blaming everything on hormones, I think because then it feels safe.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, this is my hormones. It's not that I'm feeling alone. It's not that I'm feeling, empty nest sadness. It's like I can place it somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
I also noticed actually that when my hormones were changing, so I realised early on when I was 36, I went on hormones. But when I noticed that they're changing when I am taking HRT, it's usually contributed to something else that is going on. So, I was stressed out with another situation, then my hormones tanked. And then I was sleeping shit. And then I had a recomp, not the good way, the belly fat way, So when someone is going through this, is there any type of, and they are still eating well, they are still exercising, is there any type of specific exercise or, or something that they could do to help combat that menopause belly or...
So the menopausal belly, honestly, I think I just read recently quite conclusively that, look, menopause doesn't in itself cause the weight gain, right? There might be legitimate reasons where something is very, very, very off, and that's a medical situation there. But for the majority of women, there is a redistribution going on within belly fat. It's, that's just...
The recomp.
That's happening in the wrong way with estrogen fall, etc. Yeah. I think what ends up happening is if you look at the situation, a lot of the time we're just probably moving less. We're sitting around a lot more at that time. Maybe, like I said earlier, maybe when you've got younger kids, you're running around them, you just didn't realise, but your NEAT is higher just by having younger kids or having some other purpose in life. Now we're not moving as much. Maybe feelings of lower mood is making you crave certain foods. And so you may just be eating a little bit more. But that will add up. Right? That will add up by the end of the week. And without us knowing, we may just be having 300, 400, 500 calories in surplus. And so that's potentially why we're gaining some weight at the moment. Not really, it's the hormones. So yes, so look, and I know that there is a division here of who believes this, but this is calories out theory. But that's one of the things that does stand. It just might mean that the energy balance has changed because of other other factors within your life. But it just might mean it's tipped somewhere. So we just bring them back. And that's why with my clients, I'll always do a very thorough food analysis for about 3 to 4 days. And I'll put that through a software, because I want to see, and I'll tell my clients, be very specific with the portions that you're putting on, because that's going to help me analyze what you're eating. The more data I have, the better I can help you, right? Don't give me a perfect diary.
Yeah. Give me a real diary.
I need to see what you are eating. And that, when we break that down, we'll either see two things. A, we're really under eating because we just under-tracked, or we are just overeating.
Do you know, like when I was younger, I used to eat cereal, and I'd have a bowl of cereal, and it was a fucking big bowl of cereal. And now I realised, shit, 30 grams
servings,
is
right?
it must be 30 grams is like a handful. It's like, who the fuck eats that much cereal? It's great. I don't eat cereal anymore, but just to put it out there, like, you probably think you're having a bowl of cereal, but look, you'll be having 5 bowls of cereal.
Look, I'm I've trained in culinary nutrition. I'm a qualified nutritionist, but I will still over or underestimate what I'm eating if I'm not logging.
Fair.
I will still do it. And
or if it's not
I would know.
on a scale. Right? Like as good as you can get at eyeballing, right? Because I've been in this gig a long time as well. And it's like I get real good. I can look at 100 grams of chicken 6 different ways. But at the end of the day, you throw it on a food scale and all is revealed, you know? So I always say to my clients, if you're not measuring, you're not managing.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to measure forever. And, I don't put every chicken breast on a scale. But when it's a new food or a portion I'm not familiar with, I will weigh it the first time because that helps give me the data that I need to make sure I'm on track.
Yeah. And that's where my issue comes in with the intuitive eaters, because my clients are like, well, I'm quite intuitive, and I'm just like, but it's not, it hasn't been serving you up until now. Right. How can you be intuitive if you really don't even know what a serving is? Right? So just initially, I do ask all of them to track. It's just data.
It's just data. That's right. It's not judgment.
Yes,
it's just data. Well, you dropped an acronym that I thought was very powerful, and I think more women need to be aware of, which was NEAT. Right? So non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Can you give us an idea of what would be NEAT activities and how we can increase our NEAT?
Yeah. So it's just sort of whether you're standing at your desk and doing work, or taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator, take the MRT or take the bus as opposed to take your car. Things like that, where you're just getting that extra movement. Because if you're working out in the gym, you're working out for 1 hour.
That's right.
Right? What are we doing with the rest of that day? And often you probably found, Amanda, where clients are then sitting for 6 to 7 hours.
But I went to F45 this morning. NEAT. That was 45 minutes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so NEAT actually can account for a much higher amount for energy expenditure than that 1 hour of exercise that you've done. So I say, look, you don't have to go into the gym and kill yourself. That's not how we are in our 40s. We're not in our 20s or 30s. Work with intensity, absolutely. Do you need to be dripping in buckets of sweat? No. You need to work at a good pace that is okay for you today, but you can maximize your movement around, that 1 hour of exercise.
Yeah. And, it's funny, you also mentioned about like the women in their 40s thinking, oh, my metabolism slowed down. And like you said, you're not chasing young kids around anymore. It's so interesting, right? Because I'm in both worlds. So I'm in my 40s, but I also have young kids. And it's like, I can see how the amount that you pick them up, the amount of functions that you perform for them, changing diapers, lifting onto toilets, whatever, you don't notice that and how much good that does for you because it's working for you in the positive body recomp. Yeah. But on the back end, as those tasks fade away, you're less willing to acknowledge that you're just not doing as much manual labor for your kids anymore. And I think that is a huge multiplier for women with either one or more children.
Yeah.
So obviously strength training is so important for our longevity and just our health in general. What about when women say, I don't have the time? how can they incorporate strength training in to their routine?
Well, when I think you have to place a value on it, right? Do you really want it? You can't make anybody do anything, so you have to prioritize, that time. For me, I can talk for myself that strength training is important to me as waking up and brushing my teeth. It's a part of my daily habit. As much as like if I've got a meeting and I've put that in my diary, my training is scheduled at the beginning of the week and it's absolutely non-negotiable. I won't take a client over it. I won't take another meeting over it. Every week, it's just scheduled in. I place a high value on that, though. That's important to me. And I think with our clients, whilst we can start them off and saying, look, schedule it, first and foremost, we can make time because you've got time. We've all got time, let's be honest, right? You've got time to go out for long lunches or long dinners or things like that. It's where just put that in, do it. And don't overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, one of my favorite quotes about just the role of exercise in your life, right, is like, if you don't find time for health, you will have to find time for disease.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's so true. It's
I
like,
love that one.
You can't squeeze in a workout, but later you're going to have to be squeezing in trips to, get your insulin refilled or whatever. I'm making this very dramatic. But it's true. It's true. The time that you have when you invest it in health, it pays you back in spades.
Yeah.
And I think in our 40s is when we can really start to see the recouping of that. Or for some of us, unfortunately, the consequences of that, of not putting in the time in our 20s and 30s to reap what we reap what we've sown, don't we?
And one of the ones I actually often ask my clients as well is, I was like, if you don't have time, why don't you show me your screen time?
I like that. Because I'm always pulling out steps counts in consultations, right? I'm always like, they're like, I get enough steps. I was like, pull it up right now. Apple Health right now. Let's look at 1 month, 6 months. Same. I love that. Pull up your screen time.
My husband always said, but I was working.
Oh, and you'll get that from clients too, I think. Oh, my job demands me to be online. Okay, let's take 50% of that. That's probably still enough time to work out.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. I like that, girl. I'm taking that tactic.
And look, I one more thing I'm going to add. Not everybody has the same goals, right? Just because it means a certain amount to me or to you, it doesn't have to mean that much to a specific client or somebody else.
That's right.
Because health and progress is different for everybody. Because for a client A, it might mean I got out of bed today and I went for a walk. That's progress to that client. Whereas another client, that progress might look something like, well, I lifted 100 kg deadlift.
Yeah.
So we have to separate it and just see what's
that's my
important.
goal. Jasmine's like, that is relevant. That sounds like me. No, but you're absolutely right. And I think what we all share, no matter what our end goal is, whatever the specificity of that goal is, we all share the fact that we want to live longer lives in healthier years, right? We want to have our health span extend to our lifespan. And I think any woman that you work with would say the same. They want to be around for their kids, their grandkids, and be the strongest version of themselves. And, you trying to kind of spread the gospel of strength training and nourishment is how they get there. Yeah. And it's so valuable. So as we wrap up here, we've had a great chat with some really actionable steps around health. But I would love to know from you, Charlie, because as you mentioned to us, I hope this is not too much disclosure, you've made it through your 40s.
One more year left.
Yeah. So looking back on the decade that is about to have passed, what is your 40s formula? How do you help women thrive, succeed, be their best selves in this decade?
Probably for me, I learned this in mid-40s, embrace it. Because it's going to happen, right? But you get to decide what that looks like.
Yeah.
I personally, I've done some of my biggest achievements in my 40s. I've started a new business and I'm nearly 50.
Amazing.
I learn new things because, like I said, I'm nearly an empty nester as well. What am I going to do with my time? And sit around and mope, or I can pick up new skills, things that I've always wanted to do in my 20s when I couldn't, or my 30s when I had a family. I'm doing that now because we've got the resources, everything's online. We can do anything. So pick it up and do it and stop making excuses.
Love that.
I love that.
No excuses, guys.
Yeah, no excuses decade. We always say that, right? No shits given. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Amanda, have you heard about Saltify? It's the ultimate hydration hack for anyone pushing themselves in this Singapore heat.
Heck yes, I have. And whether it's CrossFit, running, or just surviving in our humidity, Saltify helps you perform at your best, physically and mentally. It's not just any electrolyte drink. This one is designed specifically for the heat.
That's right. And what makes Saltify different is its science-backed formulation. It has the precise balance of electrolytes your body needs without all the unnecessary stuff.
And let's be real, most electrolyte drinks are packed with sugar and junk we don't need, but Saltify is zero sugar. It's keto-friendly, and it's made with all natural ingredients. It's perfect if you're health conscious or if you're sticking to a very specific diet.
I love that you can mix it into your water and keep hydrated all day long without even thinking about it. No more dehydration headaches or muscle cramps.
Exactly. And for anyone wondering, isn't salt bad for you? Check the science. Saltify actually gives you exactly what you need to replace what you sweat out, keeping you balanced and ready to go.
The best part, you can get 10% off your first order with the code SALTY40s, and they offer free delivery on all orders over $70 straight to your door.
And whether you're a weekend warrior or a high-performance athlete, Saltify will help you stay hydrated, perform better, and feel your best. Head to their website, www.saltify.me right now so you can try it out.
That's www.saltify.me. Guys, you know how much we love coffee. And if you want to show us some love, you know you can get us one.
Just visit buymeacoffee.com/the40s formula. Cheers. Before we go, please remember to hit subscribe and take a moment to support the 40s formula by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Your reviews will help us to reach more people and allow us to continue to bring valuable content. It should only take a moment, and it's a free way for you to support the show.
You can also stay updated with the 40s formula by following us on Instagram at the 40s formula, all one word. We share behind-the-scenes insights, episode updates, and much more, so please be sure to hit that follow button.
We appreciate your time and support. Thank you for being part of this community, and we'll be back next week for more empowering conversations with inspiring guests.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time out for us.
Yeah.
Not going to lie, I'm glad that's done.
Yeah, no, fair enough. You did great. And again, any of those little pauses, like, we'll just glue them right up. Okay. You will not hear them on the back end.
That's the beauty of editing.
Yes. Yeah.
I know. Well done, you guys.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Are you done now?
Well, we are done for today.
I
Yeah,
think
we
we
still
are,
have another day tomorrow of recording, but then
yeah,
that'll
we
be
do.
that'll be the end for season 3.
Until August, yeah.
Until August.
Yeah, we've got these like outstanding guests that are like.
Oh, we haven't even told Paul these dates. Paul, when are you going to be able to tell us what your dates?
Sure, they haven't released a date, so I'm a bit nervous. But
Paul's going back to uni.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.